Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Chairman, and welcome to Japan, and also welcome to Hokkaido. I am working at Tokachi Prefecture in Hokkaido. I'm only local veterinarian. Let's start. Postpartum hypocalcemia is one of the main causes of perinatal diseases of dairy cattle, and it has a big impact on productivity. There is a report that subclinical hypocalcemia, even with no clinical sign such as recumbency, causes a negative impact on reproductive performance. The study is conducted in Japan to investigate the impact of subclinical hypocalcemia on reproductive performance, occurrence of metritis, and uterine recovery. The study involved total of 757 Holstein cows from 9 commercial farms in S-Town in Hokkaido. And the study was conducted during June 2016 to September 2017. Blood calcium concentration was determined at 0 to 3 days after calving. Incidence rate of subclinical hypocalcemia was compared in each farm. Reproductive performance was evaluated by 120-day fertility rate and open period. To determine the effect of subclinical hypocalcemia on the postpartum uterine recovery, incidence of metritis during 7 to 13 postpartum days, and the score of intrauterine accumulation of purulent materials during 21 to 27 postpartum days were examined. Red line shows the changes of mean blood calcium level until 4 days after calving, and blue bar shows the incidence rate of subclinical hypocalcemia. Subclinical hypocalcemia was considered when the blood calcium concentration was lower than 8.6 milligram per deciliter. On day 0 and day 1 postpartum, blood calcium level were below the standard level of subclinical hypocalcemia. On day 2 and day 3, mean blood calcium level increased and became normal level. High incidence rate of subclinical hypocalcemia, around 50%, observed until day 2 postpartum. In total, 47 of cows showed subclinical hypocalcemia during 4 days postpartum. This figure shows the comparison of incidence rate of subclinical hypocalcemia by each farm. The incidence rate of subclinical hypocalcemia under 8.6 milligram per deciliter during day 0 to 1 postpartum were shown in blue bars. The incidence rate of subclinical hypocalcemia during day 2 to 3 postpartum were shown in red bars. These data indicates that incidence rate of subclinical hypocalcemia shows a great variation between farms. Then we investigated to the impact of subclinical hypocalcemia on the reproductive performance. The graph shows the comparison of 120-day fertility rate by calcium level and postpartum day. Blue bar are cows with subclinical hypocalcemia, and red bar are cows with normal calcium level. Subclinical hypocalcemia on day 0 and day 1 postpartum did not affect the 120-day fertility rate. However, subclinical hypocalcemia on day 2 and day 3 postpartum reduced 120-day fertility rate. These data shows that the impact of subclinical hypocalcemia on the reproductive performance were different among postpartum days. Therefore, we divided postpartum days into two groups, day 0 to 1 and day 2 to 3. Subclinical hypocalcemia during day 0 to 1 postpartum did not affect the 120 fertility rate. In contrast, subclinical hypocalcemia during day 2 to 3 postpartum significantly reduced the 120 fertility rate. Open period was prolonged by the subclinical hypocalcemia on day 2 to 3, but there wasn't significant difference. To examine the effect of subclinical hypocalcemia on the uterine recovery, we investigated the occurrence of metritis. Metritis was diagnosed by these parameters during 7 to 13 days after calving. Identification of more than 2 items above is diagnosed as metritis. First, the presence of intrauterine gas. And second, accumulation of echogenic fluid in the uterine lumen. And third, presence of odor and rupture. The slide shows the impact of metritis on the reproductive performance. In cows with metritis, 120-day fertility rate was significantly lower than healthy cows. Also, open period was significantly prolonged in the cows with endometritis. Then we examined the impact of subclinical hypocalcemia on the incidence rate of metritis. Hypocalcemia on day 0 after calving didn't affect the metritis incidence rate. However, hypocalcemia on 1 to 3 days after calving showed significant higher incidence rate of metritis. In the normal uterine recovery process, the intrauterine accumulation of echogenic fluid, such as scattered snowflake pattern, reduced during 3 weeks after calving. Thus, we carried out the ultrasonography examination of uterus during 21 to 27 days after calving. Uterine status were classified into 3 scores. The score 0, no fluid. Score 1, less than 2 centimeter fluid. And score 2, more than 2 centimeter fluid, according to the intrauterine accumulation of echogenic fluid. This figure shows the impact of intrauterine fluids during 21 to 27 days after calving on reproductive performance. 120-day fertility rate decreased significantly in score 1 and 2, and open period prolonged significantly in score 1 and 2. This figure shows the impact of subclinical hypocalcemia on incident rate of intrauterine fluid accumulation. Subclinical hypocalcemia on day 0 postpartum did not affect the incidence of intrauterine fluid accumulation. However, in cows with subclinical hypocalcemia on day 1 to 3 postpartum, the incidence of score 2 was significantly increased. This data indicate that subclinical hypocalcemia during day 1 to 3 postpartum increased the risk of delayed uterine recovery. In summary, subclinical hypocalcemia occurred in around half of the postpartum cows. Subclinical hypocalcemia during early postpartum period increased the risk of metritis and intrauterine fluid accumulation. These negative impact of subclinical hypocalcemia on postpartum uterine recovery might be associated with reduction of reproductive performance. Therefore, minimizing the incidence of metritis or intrauterine fluid accumulation by improving subclinical hypocalcemia should be considered to improve reproductive performance in high-producing dairy cows. With thanks to Tokachi Federation of Agricultural Cooperative Association and dairy farm staff who supported our investigation. That's all. Thank you for your attention.